Hey, if you've got a business question and would you like to be on this show, simply go to this URL, fill in the details, and one of my team will get back to you real soon. Well, hey, Ray, thanks for joining Mentored. Why don't you tell us where you are around the world and a little bit about your business?
Sure. I'm from the States originally, but I live currently in New Zealand. And my wife and I run a performing arts academy in Cambridge. And we've been doing this for about 10 years in New Zealand.
That's cool. Hey, what's your question?
My question is, we're maxed out with our current premise, our building. We do own it. We're looking at doing some renovations to buy some time. But we're going to have to either get a larger premise, a new build, or lease a larger building in the next couple of years. So my question is, what would you recommend? Building something or leasing another property?
Yeah, well done for getting to the point where you're maxed out. That's a huge win. When it comes to questions like this, there is no right and wrong answer, right? There is, what I sense in your question is that there's not a clear end game. Because I think if you knew, a vision and an end game for the business, then this decision would just line up with that, right? If you knew what you were building. For example, if you said to me, no, I just want to build, the biggest business I could possibly build because I want influence in town, and that's my end game, then I would say, why do you need your own building? Just because your own building's going to slow you down in a sense, because you've got to wait for it and pause and probably stymie growth while you build it and things like that, right? So, but if you said to me, no, I just want this business to build me an asset base that lasts for generations, well, then of course you work out a way to build your own business and you don't mind the short-term dip because you're going to end up. So I guess my question back to you then, Ray, is what's the end game? Like sure. What are the goals and what do you actually want to build?
Yeah. Well, our end game would be that we'd like to have multiple locations and be able to work ourselves out of the business, so to speak. So we have managers in each of those locations and that we're not tied to the business so much. And basically I wouldn't say franchises, but have multiple locations within New Zealand.
Cool. So none of that means you need to own a building.
Okay.
From what you said, none of that means you need to own a building, right? Mm. So, now, if you said to me, but I want to own real estate, great. But you could take the same money you were going to put into the business, to the building, and take the same money and go and buy other real estate, right? Right. The same money would just go from what one's inside the company and one's outside the company.
Sure.
But yeah, I think that if that's truly what you want, to build a multi-campus business around the whole of New Zealand and then leverage yourself out of it through a management structure, I probably wouldn't go through the grief of building a building.
Okay.
Because especially a purpose-built one, because it means that if you ever want to sell the business and keep the real estate, it may not fit a huge audience afterwards.
Right. Yeah, our needs are very custom fit. We have to, fit it out with soundproofing and all those kind of aspects.
Yeah, I guess that's okay in terms of the internal fittings, because you can just rip those out and write that off. But, if it was a particular shape or a style that was unique, then you would limit the amount of customers renters you could have in the future.
Okay.
And then you've got to look at the capital expense of building a building, and then you've got to look at the opportunity cost of that money. What else could you do with it? Right.
Sure.
Because I don't know exactly what the banking rules are in New Zealand, but here in Australia, we have to have 30% deposit for a commercial business, for a commercial property. So right. If it's something similar, like that's a huge amount of money up front to have. And I look at that and I go, what else could you do with that much money? And how much utility do you get from that money by putting it into your own, building versus going to do something else with it? Is it the same amount of money that would take you from one location to 6? Because you're going to get, a better return on your money going to 6 locations than having one building.
Right.
Or is that money better off being put into some, a bunch of residential real estate because it's, whatever, because you can buy it cheaper and negotiate because you're buying, 5-year-old stock, whatever. I guess I'm just looking at it going, if you said to me, no, I want to do the McDonald's model and I want my businesses to pay off my real estate all the way through New Zealand, great. I guess that's what I mean by having a vision. Like if you look at McDonald's, that was their vision. Sell burgers, run a business on top of a real estate play. That was McDonald's model. right? So that all they wanted to own the land. They just put a business on top to pay the land down. That's their model. If you said to me, no, that's a good idea. That's my vision. I'm going to have 7 locations, and I'm going to use each location to pay off the real estate. And then in 15 years, I'll package the whole business and sell the whole thing. Like, great. Then it makes it really easy what the decision is. The decision is you need to own your own real estate in 7 locations. So you may as well build one.
Sure.
I think the point I want to come back to, though, Ray, is that you need to decide. It's almost an identity crisis. You don't quite know what you're building. And if you knew exactly what you're building, I think you'd be able to then go, well, it's easy. That's the decision.
Okay. We also currently own our building that we're in. So,
which has probably served you incredibly well, right? Because you've taken the money and paid off either the whole or part of your asset. Like it's, we build businesses in life to take the money out of the business and buy real assets. If you look at anybody on the rich list of New Zealand and Australia and anywhere in the West, they used business cash flow to buy hard real estates. And they did that over a 20, 30, 40 year window, and they ended up incredibly wealthy. So, but I guess I just know that speed wins to grow a business. And if you go, we need to pause because we're maxed out, and then we need to build this building and it's going to take us 18 months, then like the cost of staying small for 18 months until you can grow again is probably bigger. That cost, the lost money doing that is probably more than you'll ever make on having a real estate play. So I'm like, just get the building down the road and this one down here and just work it so you can continue growing, and then go to other locations and then package the whole business up and sell it.
Yeah. No, that's good. So I guess our end game, we have to focus more on answering that question.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the clearer the vision that you've got for the company, the easier decision making is. And I'm saying this to you, Ray, on this, but I'm saying this to whoever watches this show later. Like a lot of our, when we're unsure about decisions, it's often because we haven't actually decided and become hungry and passionate about our end game. And when you have, then it's basically a yardstick when you know the vision, because you can just line everything up with that decision to today, and it makes decisions a whole lot easier.
Okay. No, that's good.
So Ray, how could somebody find you? Have you got some handles, a URL somewhere where somebody can reach you?
Our website is ignitearts.co.nz in New Zealand. And you can look us up on Facebook and Instagram as well. So ignitearts.co.nz. And that's where you can contact us and see everything that we do.
Fantastic, Ray. Hey, it's been great hanging out with you.
Thank you, Wes. I appreciate your time.
Bless you.
Well, hey, if you enjoyed that episode, would you do me a favor and hit the subscribe button below and hit the bell icon so that you get the alerts of all of the future episodes? It would mean the world to me if you would do that right now.